Okay. Hi, Leanna. Thank you so much for being with the Women's Chamber today. It's so exciting to have you here as the CEO of Girl Scouts Colorado. I'm so happy for you and so excited for us that you're on our board of directors. So thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much. It's so good to see your face. I
Yeah.
miss seeing you in person, but I appreciate being here. I'm about 3 weeks into my new position as CEO of Girl Scouts of Colorado
And
and
you're already
loving
doing
it.
so much. That's crazy.
Thank you. There's a ton going on, but I'm really enjoying it, getting to know the volunteers and the staff across the state, and hopefully soon be able to get out and meet some of the girls as well. So yeah, it's good.
Awesome. They're so lucky to have you. You're such a great inspiration. And, I know that women's issues and women in business is so important to you.
It
So
is.
it'll be amazing to see what you do with that organization. I know it's going to be great.
Thank you.
Okay, well, let's chat with our members on this Monday and lift everybody up. I'm just going to ask a couple questions, and I know you've got some great answers. So we're going to go ahead and start with just letting our members know a time where you struggled and how you got through it.
So I was thinking about this, and I always associate it with the age of my twins at the time. I have boy-girl twins who are now 17. When they were 8 months old and they were just beginning to crawl, my mom, her colon ruptured, and she went into the hospital, and I got a call at work. I had my agency at the time with about 30 people on staff. And I immediately got to the hospital. I made myself this promise that as long as she was in the hospital, I was going to be there every single day. And little did I know that she would be in the hospital for 9 months. So I was running my own business with, clients, 30 people on staff. I had 8-month-old twins. I was married at the time, so I had a support system, but I made myself this insane promise. My mom was in ICU for 3 months, and then for the next 6 months, she was in various hospitals, specialty hospitals, trying to wean her off the ventilator, trying to get her off kidney dialysis, teaching her how to speak and swallow and stand and walk all over again because she had lost the ability to do any of that. So I guess my lesson is I made myself crazy thinking I had to be Superwoman, because I did go every single day. And the hospital was about an hour round trip plus the time there. And it was important. I mean, she had 8 different specialists that I had to pull together. The nurses were so important. I would get up at 5 a.m. to make sure that I could call the charge nurse before they changed so I could get my mom's levels and everything else and email everybody. So I just made myself crazy. And I got through it. I did get through it. And the good thing is my mom made it through. We had her for 9 more years after that. But I'll say that I had incredible road rage. I remember just getting pissed off behind the wheel during that time because it had to come out somewhere. I was managing so much. So I think the lesson was I made it through, but we as women put ourselves in these positions where we don't ask for help and we think we have to do it all. We have to be Superwomen. So my lesson really was I should have asked for more help. I should have realized that that wasn't a good promise that I made myself and let myself off the hook a bit, because my mom would have wanted me to. Right. So it was a very tough time. I made it through and it was a good lesson learned. And if I were in the same situation again, I would let myself off the hook some. But yeah.
Did you learn that lesson sort of midway through and ask for help, or did you just
I powered through
it and
I just powered through. I just, head down and get through this. So I learned it after. And I just felt I couldn't break this promise that I had made. I thought I made it to her, but I'd made it to myself. My mom would have been the first one to say, if she could have said, Leanna, let yourself off the hook. I'll be okay. So yeah, it was a tough time, but if I were in that situation again, I know that I would look at it differently.
Yeah. What do you think were some of the things that you learned along the way, even though you were putting your head down and getting through it? Think of some things, because you know what? The simple fact of the matter is that women are going to do this over and over again, even though we do have to ask for help and we have to get through it. I think it's in our DNA to just overcommit ourselves. What are some things that you can think of that you did while you were getting through it that made it somewhat better? Or
yeah, I did ask. My sister and my brother were very involved too. So I did ask for help in some ways, but I had to be the one orchestrating it. I could not let go. So I do think getting through it, I've learned as a result to let go of things more and to accept help, and also realize that somebody might not do it the same way that I did or I would, but that's okay. So I've gotten better at that. Instead of, no, I don't like that, I would do it differently. I'm like, well, that's okay. They're going to they're going to get to the same place. They're just going to get there differently. So I've learned through that process. I think that was key in helping me learn to let go of more, which has been very healthy for me.
Yeah, well, I think that makes us really good leaders as women too. We're such perfectionists, and that would be really hard sometimes to work for, because we have to allow people to blossom and do it their way. And if we always think our way is the best way, and I think
I'm much more open-minded as a leader than I was back then, and I think that was, this experience with my mom was a key lesson in that.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing that. Tell us about a motto that you live by. And even if it's like, I don't have a motto, but I certainly have things that I live by. So if it's not a motto, like what's something that drives you every day?
So this is something that if you know me well, you've heard me say. I firmly believe that talent is widely distributed, but opportunity is not. That's one of the key reasons I'm at the Girl Scouts of Colorado. My daughter was born into opportunity, but so many girls are not. So things like the Girl Scouts, I think, are the great equalizer that help all girls achieve their potential. But I really think, I want to tell you a story about when I first discovered this motto. I've done a lot of work in developing nations, working for Project Cure, developed a company called Philanthro Travel for Project Cure. And one of the places I've spent a lot of time is Cuba. And there's a man in Cuba who I consider my cousin, my brother. His name is Hector. And one of my first trips to Cuba, with a group of philanthropists that I had taken there to learn more about the need and hopefully get involved. We were in Havana over dinner, and in Cuba, the average salary is $20 a month. We had a plate of food in front of us, an amazing meal. Each plate of food was about $10, including drinks, everything. And we're all talking about how inexpensive this is and how wonderful, and Hector's sitting next to me, Cuban. And I know that the average salary in Cuba is $20 a month. So I turn to him and I say, and everyone's talking and laughing, and we have this conversation on the side, and I say, what is this like for you to sit at a table like this and look at a meal like this? And he paused and he said, in Cuba, at breakfast, we wonder how we're going to put lunch on the table. At lunch, we think about how will we feed our children dinner. And at dinner, the cycle starts over and we wonder where breakfast will come from. And I said, Hector, how do you live like that? How do you sit at this table with all of us? And he said in Spanish, he said, my wine is bitter, but it is my wine. So in other words, this is my lot in life. And I just remember standing up from that table changed, because it shouldn't be his lot in life, just because he was born in a certain place. So that's where talent is widely distributed, but opportunity is not. Hector is one of the most brilliant people I've ever met, but he just simply doesn't have access to opportunity because of where he was born. So ever since then, and that's why I kept going back to Cuba. I think that was my second trip, and I went back 8 more times to do what I could. And I do think that's why I'm at Girl Scouts, is to try to fulfill what I can to make opportunity available, in this case for all girls across Colorado.
Well, and I can see why you're drawn to the board at the Women's Chamber too, because oftentimes women don't have the same opportunities as men. And exactly. I think it's important that we're aware of that, because I think if you're aware of it, then hopefully it begins to slowly change, right?
You're absolutely right.
Each other opportunities. I feel so fortunate that you're on our board, Leanna.
Thank you
Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I just hope to see you all in person one of these days. This Zoom thing works pretty well, but I'm kind of over it.
Me too.
And I can't wait to be back in person with all you soon. So
yeah, me too. And I think we have a Powerful Voices coming up with you too. So I can't wait to hear more of your story then.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, take care.